Hello, welcome to another Thursday Live here at the Association of PEMF Professionals. That would be you as a member. And welcome to the club if you are looking to join. And this is what we're all about. And some of the things that we like to talk about here is how you can better the profession, how you can better yourself as a professional, and then also if you're just watching for the first time, kind of getting to know us, what we're all about, and our, I don't know, is it our visionary quest or what we're all about as far as helping individuals grow their business using PEMF, but then also educating people who have never heard about pulse electromagnetic field therapy or PEMF and how it's changing lives all over the place. If you've never experienced it, I would definitely recommend you find somebody and get a session. So with that, let's jump into our live, and that is going to be about building your own protocol part 2. And as always, I like jumping in and doing a quick shout out to those who are doing a quick shout out. This is over on our YouTube channel and Alberta. Welcome. Welcome to our YouTube channel. And again, what we're trying to do, because I don't know, was it 15 years ago? PEMF was just kind of a drop in the hat. Somebody was like, well, what is it? To now it's where can I go to get some, which is where we thought this would be going. But then also the research that's out there is phenomenal as far as what's going on, because we're able to actually create that double-blind placebo-controlled outcome studies, and even more so with the devices that are being created for this. So we'll be seeing more of that in the future. But until then, the other thing that we need is data from you that are out there using things. And so building your own protocol is really something that we can use as a global association. We are out in 23 different countries for us to grab that content, so now we can begin to cull through it and see what people are doing, what the results they're getting, so we can create some standardization examples for you. So if you come to us and say, hey, what do I do for a torn biceps in a human? It's like, well, we can go to our database and see that practitioners that are using PEMF on humans are creating sessions that are using these setups, these protocols, these attachments, these devices, this length of time, this number of sessions. So with your input, that's going to help us too. So all about baseline, track, and reassess for animals and humans in front of you. So the bridge from last week, again, there is no universal recipe. So build a reliable one. And this is, again, we are the front edge of building all of this out. So we're also open to any of your suggestions along the way too. Oh, I want to say hi to Maureen. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And so let's build a reliable one. And so we talked about how PEMF does something, but the field has no standardized protocol, and devices differ. Biology is different. Parameter specific, and studies vary too much to pool into one number. And it's going to be that way. And we're going to be titrating PEMF based on the animal, shape, size, health, on the human, shape, size, health, and then the areas, whether it's an extremity, a muscle, PTSD, those kinds of things. So there's, I don't know, maybe 50 different protocol standards for a human. I mean, we might be seeing something like that. But today's takeaway, it is going to be, if you can't find it, if the literature can't hand you a universal recipe, then our job your job and mine, is to build a reliable one for the animal in front of you. That's our that's our quote. The animal in front of you, and not the drummer from the Muppets, but everybody else. I don't know. Maybe he could be a spokesperson. But again, this isn't a workaround. It's what good operators already do, and today we want to make it more of a systemic system that's going on. And hi, Lori. Good to see you. I know we just chatted briefly before I jumped on, so I'm looking forward to talking with you later on today. So let's all start with a baseline. So you can't show a change you never measured. So capture owner reported function before session one. So again, I talk about what we use in the medical field. We use a SOAP chart. So that's SOAP. So it's subjective, objective, action, and prognosis. So it's what you witness or what the human is saying, what you are noticing or measuring. So on the human side, range of motion, tape measurement, visual, and those kinds of things. And then what you do. What is it that you're doing? What is your session that you're setting up? And then how frequent that is. And then prognosis is, in our world, it's, what's your best guess on what's going on, or it could be what your plan is. So sometimes instead of a prognosis, which requires a medical license, so that might be our doctor vet step aside. Instead of saying prognosis, you can say plan. What's your plan? So is it just that one time, or is it return sessions, those types of things? So that's always been our theme of stay in your lane. And again, use simple repeatable observations captured the same way every time. You can even take photos, use your phone, range of motion, range of movement, activity tolerance, recovery, demeanor. And those of you that work with animals, there's ways to read animals, their demeanor, things like that, sensitivity to the area. Whether or not they get up and walk around. My son was doing PEMF on animals and did it on a shepherd, just kind of laying around doing nothing with hip problems. And then after 3 sessions, the owner, reached out to him and said, "You put the pup back into my dog, and he's out running around, chasing and just enjoying life again." So those of you that have experienced that know what this can do. But then now we need to track that. So where was it placed? What was used? How long? What was the difference between each session? So all of that tracking, it's a ton of data, but we are in the process of creating a place where you can go in the membership and load that information. We've been playing around with 2 different versions. We're just that far away, or if you're a fisherman, that far away from getting this taken care of. So let's jump into setting the plan and running it in its courses. These are the things that you can do on a spreadsheet for now, and then once we get our protocol set up, you can come over and drop stuff in. But build the starting plan from your own device's manufacturer guidance and also its intended use, but not a protocol borrowed from a different machine, because that's the other thing that we want, is those of you that are using this machine are using this protocol, getting this results, which is where we're heading with some of this too. But then from that, we can also, of course, get the whole generic, when using PEMF, these are the best practices regardless of the machine to get these outcomes regardless of the machine. So we'll be able to create that global conglomerate of data, but we also would like to set apart the different devices and best use for that. So again, findings don't transfer cleanly between devices, and the rules that we kind of put in place last week, which you can go and check out on Facebook and YouTube. You can see last week's Facebook Live and pick up what we were talking about there. So The heart of today's episode is what to record every single session. So if you have a spreadsheet, these are the 6 things that we would like to see. So the date and session number of the course, you're in a course. Um, so what was the date? And sometimes people do 2 or 3 sessions in a day. So, uh, day one, session one, day one, session two, that type of thing. What you did as far as addressed and positioning, what was and you can use shorthand if you want, or you can do long form. Yeah, Andrea, good. What gets measured gets managed. Yeah, and um, that's so, and that happens in all vet and medicine, human medicine. All of that is part of the protocol. But what you did as far as the area addressed and positioning, and then what the owner reports between the sessions. So that's important. The owner of the body or the owner of the animal. That's the subjective side of it. But again, they're not going to be able to tell you what they experience if you don't set them up for that win. So you can say, hey, next time when I come in, I'm going to be asking you about these things. For me, the shorthand, I call it the DIF, the DIF. So the duration, the intensity, and the frequency. So if somebody has neck pain in my world as a chiropractor, um, did the duration of your neck pain change? Did the intensity of your neck pain change? And did the frequency of your neck pain change? So those are some of the things that I throw in there in our SOAP charts that we do with every visit. And again, what they say they are, we use a 0 to 10 scale on their pain for that area. In case you didn't know, this is a room that I'm in that has cats, so I have a little bit of a um, problem with my voice sometimes here. Okay, then also what you observe during and right after, and just plain honest terms. Like, I didn't notice anything. That's just as important as noticing something. Person didn't have any changes in duration, intensity, and frequency. Person felt worse. Another part of the body started hurting. A different part of the body started swelling up. All of those things are relevant. You may think, I better not write that down because that is not a positive result. We want both positive and negative, because if it was just you and it was just that one negative thing and we never saw it anywhere else, then we know that was a special event for that event that had nothing to do with PEMF. But if everybody notices this one negative event, now we've got some data to say, regardless of the machine, regardless of the time, regardless of the placement, regardless of the attachment, we're noticing this negative event, which helps all of us out. So anything unusual or any reason that you adjusted your positioning or outcome or session or time or strength, those types of things too. So again, the rule is same items every time. If you get a new machine and you swap out, that's great. You don't have to stick with your old one. Or if you interchange machines or attachments or Gauss or Hertz or all of those things, that's fine. Do what you do. We would like the data that comes from that. So we're not here to judge. We're here to help. So as far as what's comparable and what makes them useful are what we're looking for. And then also, the goal is what happens over time, not just moment to moment. So decide outcome measures up front and track the same ones throughout. The functional signs from your baseline. So in my world, if I'm working on an ankle, then I'm just focused on the ankle. If a patient comes in and they say, hey, I really like how my ankle feels, can you do that with my back also? I'm not going to say, sorry, this is research, we can only do the ankle. I'll work on the back too. I'll set up another attachment, we'll do ankle and back at the same time. Then I'll start tracking it. Those are really important things. And so, and again, measure at set intervals, not just the start and the end. And so, during the care, before and after are perfect if that's all you do. But you get extra bonus points if you are measuring at different times too. But again, watch the trend, not just a single day. So one good or bad session is noise. The direction is over several check-ins in the signal, which is what I was talking about on the earlier slide. So just because something goes wonky one day, in the human world, it could have been what they ate, could have been the extra 5 miles they walked the day before, or the soccer game that they played in. So those are all of the things too. And I just realized I didn't make this bigger. There we go. Sorry about that. Um, and give owners a simple way to contribute between the visits. Like we said, a 0 to 10 function rating. And 0 is nothing, right? And 10 is the worst on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is the worst pain they've ever experienced. So some are like, I don't know how to rate this. It's like, well, what's the worst pain you've ever had? Women, childbirth, depending on if it was drugged up or not. But for them, what was their worst pain? It's like, okay, well, that's a 10. So how does this feel on that scale? So they are creating their own scale for that. And then be honest about what trend proves, as far as association over time. Again, season, activity. We talked about those specific things to track, but if you want to spread out, add more to your spreadsheet as far as what you're tracking, that's great. Let us know what those columns are, because once we get this built out, we're going to make it so that we can add to that. So if there's something that everybody sees that's worthy of a new column in this software, then we'll add that too. And then reassess, adjust, and talk to the owners honestly. And at your plan check-in, compare against baseline. And one of the key things is, if you've been tracking this and you've been measuring, when you come in, they go, I don't really notice anything. It still hurts. Okay, let's check your range of motion. Wow, your range of motion has improved 15, 20 degrees from when we started. And they go, wow, yeah, but why do I still hurt? Again, if you've watched any of my videos, you know how I talk about function and how I talk about pain. And pain and function are in different camps. So the joint can move better, but the pain can stay the same. Or the pain can go away and the joint's still stuck. So you have all those variances, and they're totally independent of each other. Oftentimes the joint or the area improves better before the pain goes away. With PEMF, I see that less. I see that kind of flipped, where people get up and they go, what is this? If they've never used PEMF before, we call it the WTF moment, where they stand up, they go, or the WTH, they stand up and they say, what the heck? What is this again? And so, that's when they turn around, they start looking around, and because they've never experienced it before. They think they have. They think they've, used interferential or ultrasound or a TINS unit. Once I explain to them that's not what this is before I start, that's when they do a double take. So, and then the honest client conversation is set expectations up front. Hey, we're going to try this. Let's see how you do afterwards. Let me measure everything first, and then let me know, because oftentimes telling somebody what to expect, you don't want to set their brain to, sometimes people don't want to disappoint you. It's like, how does it feel? They may hurt worse or not notice anything, and they're like, it feels kind of good, kind of better. It's like, no, I want your honest opinion. So when we're done, I want your honest opinion. You're not going to hurt my feelings if this feels worse or is the same or feels better. We're trying to track this and see what we can do to help out. So again, those are the things. They never promise an outcome. Today we're going to put PEMF on you. We're going to sit up for 20 minutes, and you will be able to run the marathon after we're done. Don't do that, especially if they never run a marathon. But never promise an outcome or a cure or a claim. Again, PEMF doesn't heal. It helps the body do its own healing. So somebody's healing abilities may be impaired. There may be stuff going on inside their body you know nothing about. They may be taking a medication they've never disclosed. There's all kinds of things that could be going on. And so, um, and then, yeah, like Stacy brings up a really good point here. Let me pop it up. The body is different and responds differently. So you're going to have a detoxification going on for somebody. They may have had a medication that they took years ago that's still hiding inside the fat deposits in the body. And when you use PEMF, that'll dislodge it, and their body will have a little bit of a detox as a result of it. They could have had an old spray and strain that this kind of lights up a little bit as it's going through and helping out with the system. So, a clear before and after record of observed function builds more trust than any promise ever could. So, and you can even say that I'm going into this blind and objectively. So the more true statements we can get, the better I know how we can set this up for you. And today's, I'm just going to do 10 minutes. We'll see how you do. And then I want to give it a day or two to see how you do over time. If absolutely nothing happens, then we know that we can bump it up a little bit, either in power or in time, and then go from there. Today I'm also going to be, measuring the circumference of the area. I'm going to be checking range of motion. I want to take a video of you moving. All of those things are tools that you can use so that the next session you'll be able to compare those. And then finally, your your records are the field's evidence. So we've got inside the lab, we've got research, but we've also got out in the field. And you guys are all out in the fielders. So your information is what we need, because that well, thank you, Wendy. Yeah. We need your input, but again, you need everybody's input too. So, once we get this, we're sharing with everybody, because you'll have a resource to go to find out stuff too, other than just the research that's out there, because that's all controlled. But we all know that a lot of field stuff is different than controlled stuff, and they may not even be doing these things, like these little subtle nuances that we do in the field, where we get a better result or better response or avoid a reaction. So every well-kept record is a small piece of real-world data. One operator's notes are an anecdote, hundreds documenting the same way as a data set, and that's what we're looking for. So this is how a young field earns standardized protocols, which is consistent, honest, real-world observations at scale. Like I said, we are developing a tracking outcome system that we every week we get together, we talk about it. We've created a few beta testings, and then they, as they should, fail miserably as we get in there, test things, or they're missing things. So, and again, your input as we're building this too. Feel free to drop us a note, email us and stuff. I'll have a link after we're done talking here. But the guardrails to keep repeating is, device neutral is what we're trying to do here. No brand endorsements, stay in the non-clinical lane, observable function and owner reported change, not diagnosis, and then also no implied guarantees and no overclaiming precision. So our goal as the AOPP is to stay neutral, and we just talk about PEMF and devices. If you have a device that you love and you use, I'm all for that. Love your device. And then we are going to be including all of those in our research too, so you can see that as well. And if you are a device manufacturer, we would love any of your information that you have too, because straight from the manufacturer is gold in our terms as far as research. So with that, again, I want to thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to your input. Any of your comments that you have, you can drop those at our info@pemfprofessionals.com. You can do that here on our Facebook page. Those of you that are members, we have a private Facebook page. If you want to keep it inside the walls of the AOPP, you can do that. Would love to have those of you that are on the fence to become a member, because as you are watching more of these videos, you can kind of see where we're headed. Again, we are not in just a few countries, we're all over the place. So it's great to have those of you outside um, in all of these other countries on board and helping us out too. So another thing you can do to help us out is take what you're seeing today and other videos that are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and like and share those. We are continuing to build out our algorithm of who we are and what we do, so that as people is the Facebook page active? Yes, you should have. If you're a member of AOPP, you should have a link to that. And then you, if not, then when you go to it, then you ask to be let in, and if you're a member, then we let you in. So thanks, Andrea. You're welcome. And then membership is very, yes. And also with our educational series, we have 4 of them, and one of them is just general PEMF. So if you want to learn everything, and we're going to be we're looking at all of our certification programs to see what inside needs to be updated, because there's been so much happening just in the last 6 months. So we're going to be looking at each of those too. So if you've gone through the certification and you think that it's missing something, that's also what we want to hear too, because we are a user system, but we also want to make sure you're getting the best of the best. So with that, know, like, and share us, and I am going to end today's meeting and with the wishes that you do awesome and that you have a great week, and we'll see you again next week. All right, so with that, take care.